On a remote farm nestled in the Bavarian countryside, the Gruber family lived in peace. But on a fateful day in March 1922, their tranquility was shattered by a horrific crime that would forever shroud Hinterkaifeck in mystery. One morning, Andreas Gruber, the patriarch of the family, made a chilling discovery: footprints leading from the dense woods directly to his home, with none leading back. This unsettling discovery was just the beginning of a series of strange events that would befall the Gruber family in the days leading up to their demise. 6 months earlier, the Gruber family's maid abruptly quit, claiming the house was haunted. She spoke of hearing unexplained noises and had grown increasingly uneasy living there. Then, a Munich newspaper appeared on the farm, even though the Grubers and their neighbors did not subscribe to it. This incident added to the growing sense of unease that hung over Hinterkaifeck. In the days leading up to the murders, Andreas Gruber told his neighbors about hearing footsteps not only outside the house, but in the attic as well. When he went to investigate, he found no sign of an intruder, but did notice that the lock on a door leading to the farm's machine room had been broken. These disturbing occurrences foreshadowed the tragedy that would unfold on the night of March 31, 1922. In Part 2, we will delve deeper into the night of the murders and explore the chilling secrets that still linger in the shadows of Hinterkaifeck. In the eerie silence that followed March 31, 1922, Hinterkaifeck seemed alive. Smoke curled from the chimney, but there was no sign of life. Michel Plockel, a neighbor farmer, had been keeping an eye on the farmstead. He knew the Gruber family was away and was concerned about the smoke and lights in the windows. On Saturday, April 1st, he decided to investigate. Plockel approached the barn and found the door unlocked. He peered inside and saw a lit lantern. He also discovered the Gruber's dog wandering free. Plockel called out for the family, but there was no answer. He searched the barn, but couldn't find anyone. He then went to the house, but all the doors were locked. Plockel decided to report his findings to the town guide, Lorenz Schlittenbauer. On Sunday, April 2nd, Simon Rieblander, a local woodcutter, was walking through the woods when he saw two strangers near the Hinterkaifeck farmstead. The strangers were dressed in dark clothing and had their hats pulled low over their faces. Rieblander waved, but they didn't wave back. Instead, they turned and disappeared into the trees. Plockel and Rieblander's sightings would be key pieces of evidence in the investigation to come, but the full extent of the horror at Hinterkaifeck had yet to be revealed. On April 3, 1922, repairman Albert Hoffner arrived at Hinterkaifeck to fix an engine in the machine room. He didn't see any of the family but noticed that the barn was locked and could hear the family dog barking inside. At that moment, Hoffner didn't think much of the scene, and since the farm's machine room was open, he headed in to fix the engine. 4 hours later, his work was complete, but as he was leaving the farm, he noticed that the barn door was now open and the dog was tied up outside. Hoffner hadn't seen or heard any of the Gruber family while he was working. Arriving back in town, Hoffner shared his eerie experience with the town's guide, Lorenz Schlittenbauer. Schlittenbauer was getting worried from all the strange reports and decided to check on the Grubers himself. Schlittenbauer and two friends arrived at Hinterkaifeck farmstead and went to the house, but all the doors and windows were locked. They knocked, but there was no answer. They tried calling out the names of the Gruber family, but no one responded. Concerned, Schlittenbauer and his friends decided to enter the barn. Inside, they found a silence that spoke volumes. Inside Hinterkaifeck's barn, a scene of unimaginable horror awaited Lorenz Schlittenbauer and his companions: the bodies of Andreas, Kazilia, Victoria, and young Kazilia. Then, a realization hit Lorenz: young Joseph wasn't among them. Dashing into the house, another grisly sight met him. Maria and baby Joseph had both been brutally silenced. Inspector Georg Reingruber arrived from the Munich police department, but the crime scene was tainted with the local townsfolk. Autopsy results painted a horrifying picture. The Grubers had been brutally killed with a pickaxe. A timeline emerged. The undisturbed mail confirmed the Grubers' last living night was March 31st. Then, the family was lured out to the barn one by one, each meeting their end by the cruel pickaxe. But witnesses had reported signs of life at the farm: smoke and figures. The animals were tended to, and meals had been cooked. The killer wasn't just a murderer. They played house in the shadow of their crime. Could the killer have been lurking, watching, even as the bodies were found? Or were they closer, perhaps among the very neighbors? Stay with us as the mystery deepens. The Hinterkaifeck murders left police baffled. There were several suspects, but not enough evidence to arrest anyone. The Thaler brothers were strong suspects because they were known thieves who had previously been caught hiding in the Gruber's barn and chased out at gunpoint. However, police found money and jewelry left at the Gruber home, so robbery was an unlikely motive. Lorenz Schlittenbauer was another suspect. His initial reactions at the crime scene were suspicious. He moved the bodies and ran into the house alone. Schlittenbauer also had a key to the Gruber home. When questioned by police, Schlittenbauer confessed to being the father of Victoria's son. However, many people did not believe him. They thought that he was lying to protect himself or to claim a possible inheritance. But one of the most sensational theories about the murders was that Carl Gabriel, Victoria's dead husband, was the killer. He was thought to have been killed in France during World War I, but some locals believed that he had survived and returned to the farm. All in all, police considered 100 different suspects, but no one was ever charged with the crimes. The Hinterkaifeck case was closed in 1955, but remains one of the most notorious unsolved crimes in history. Perhaps the most chilling thought is that the killer could have been someone the Gruber family knew and trusted. The Hinterkaifeck murders are a reminder that evil can lurk anywhere, even in the most peaceful of places.